Hey, this is Marco Battaglia, and I am the Lieutenant Governor candidate running for Lieutenant Governor of Iowa alongside my running mate, Rick Stewart. We just announced last week, and you can learn more about us at www.rickstewart.com. Some of the big areas of common ground that Rick and I had is that we want to legalize marijuana and allow for broader hemp farming in Iowa. And we agreed that there needs to be a low barrier to entry so that it's equitable for those that have been charged with related crimes, nonviolent crimes related to marijuana in the past. We agreed that it needs to be, if there needs to be any tax at all, it's got to be minimal so we avoid creating a gray market, which is basically all the same negatives as a black market, minus that people are not criminalized for participating. And we also want to couple it with uh, pardoning people and expunging the records of people for nonviolent cannabis crimes. I think it's pretty ridiculous that in Iowa, of all places, farmers can't decide to grow hemp right now because the restrictions are so burdensome. Um, Farmers that have tried have had to burn their crop because the THC content crept up above some amount that is nonsensical, unscientific. We also want to rein in the broader war on drugs and end it and allow for safe supply to help tackle the opioid crisis and tackle overdose deaths. If you're not familiar with safe supply, I'll post some follow-up information under the video here. We also have been firmly against eminent domain abuse. That's going to be a big one in this election cycle. And we want to hold those that pollute our waterways and our soil and any pollution that has an effect on your neighbor or someone downstream, especially going all the way to the dead zone in the ocean. We certainly think that's an aggression that if we have any government at all, it should not allow such harm to stand. It should not let people consistently over many years harm their neighbors in these ways. We also share common ground on occupational licensing reform. This is something where a libertarian in Nebraska, Laura Ebke, a couple years back got a bill approved with tripartisan support. It was like only one vote against in the legislature. It was occupational licensing reform. And the reform made it easier for those in Nebraska to start a new job, to start a business, made it easier for people that had formerly been incarcerated to start a new job, to start a new business. It was amazing legislation, and Iowa, we really think, needs to follow suit. And we'll get into so much more. I pretty much just wanted to introduce myself, Marco Battaglia, and check out Rick's background on his website, www.rickstewart.com. We are going to give our all for standing for the liberties of everyone in Iowa, everyone that sets foot in Iowa, that's ever set foot in Iowa. We want to make our state motto stand strong. Again, stand strong behind it. Our liberties we prize, and our rights we will maintain. And that's for every single person in Iowa. It does not matter anything about their status. They are here, and we want to stand for their liberties. They're our neighbors. They're people that we do business with. They are people that we need to stand up for all of their rights all of the time. Or else, we're going to lose. We're going to continue to lose our own more and more. This erosion of our liberties and our rights is going to continue if we don't stand for the rights of every single being here in Iowa. We need to heal. We need to stand up for each other. We got to stop all this nasty partisan stuff. And I'm a huge inspiration to me. have been the reading about the histories of former Iowa politicians Robert Ray and Harold Hughes. So many of the things they did during their times in office, so many things that they left to recorded history are so important to where we're at now. I feel like if we would have listened to them, we could have avoided a lot of the problems we have now. Hughes was an early proponent of community-based addiction support, community-based mental health support. We can actually save taxpayers an amazing amount of money by helping some of our most vulnerable people through things like the clubhouse model of mental health support at the community level. Most people that really need help can't get hours away and then wait hours or days or months for a bed. They need support in their community where they're at in Iowa. That's something that would be doing the right thing and save Iowa's taxpayers a ton of money. And he also was a proponent of legalizing cannabis, and this was before I was born. So we really want to work with people from all over the political spectrum to get things like this done. Uh, Keep in touch with us. Ask us anything on any of our social media. Tell your friends about us. We'll see you on the campaign trail. I hope to see you on the campaign trail. Hope for you to have us as an option in polls. And I hope for you to see us debating. Like, we should be debating ideas. Part of the problem with the duopoly is we get only two answers on what should be a multiple choice test. We want to add the C and D, and the write your own answer to these discussions and these debates. Issues like education, issues like water quality. These are debates and topics which require nuance and delicate discussion, not lumping people into red team and blue team. One team's got the answer, the other team's always wrong, no matter what. Run at each other, never get anything done, except for some reason the legislature chose, of all the things they could have championed, whole plant cannabis freedom. They could have championed putting a stop to eminent domain abuse. They could have championed allowing people to have more freedom about what they do on their property, as opposed to pushing a ban on solar panels on property. There's a very practical and popular form of farming where you combine solar with farming. You have crops and you have solar panels. Someone needs to tell the Iowa legislature about this, among many other things. But yeah, they chose to prioritize legislation to ban trans girls from girls' sports, which anyone that knows anything about these topics, that knows an LGBTQ plus person, knows how absurd this is. They played with people's emotions to trample on basic civil liberties. There's definitely good faith and polite conversations we should have about things like this, and I encourage those discussions. But to go top down from the state, using the blunt force of the state to pass some really poorly written legislation that does much more harm than good, is certainly horrible for the state. It's going to cost taxpayers a lot of money in the long run. I'm confident it'll be challenged. Hope that it's overturned. It seems likely, and I hope people can learn from this. And also, I hope people understand why we need more independents participating, more independents in office, more Green Party, more Libertarian Party. Rick and I have been in the Libertarian Party, I think both of us now, for a decade or so, if not longer in Rick's case. But we want to stand for all of your freedoms all of the time. So keep in touch with us. Check it out, www.rickstewart.com. Don't let anybody tell you that there's not going to be another option on the ballot. Don't let anybody tell you we can't be your first choice. We do support ranked choice voting and opening up the primaries, because why not let the over 50% of our population in Iowa that don't identify as Republican or Democrat participate in our political system? To me, that's a no-brainer. But we'll talk about these things and a lot more. Nice to meet you, Marco Battaglia. Feel free to send me any questions, introduce yourself, send us information on events we should be at, you think we should be at. We'll do our best to be there. We're going to work as hard as we can from now until the last vote's counted. Thank you.